Hi, everybody. This is Chris,
And this is Matt.
and we're here to pump you
You
up.
up? Good one. I even caught up to you that
I
time.
know you caught
Usually on the
that.
intro, I'm light years behind you.
Well, I don't warn you, which is not fair. But,
Right, right.
but in truth, this is SimCity. We are going to
Yes,
talk about it. We are not. What are we not going to do, Matt?
we're not going to review this thing.
We're not.
No.
Seems strange.
You know what we are going to do though?
Hmm.
Mispronounce Broderbund again.
Oh my
Broderbund.
God. Yeah, they had something to do with this, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because they didn't believe Will Wright could make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just launching right into it, but
Yeah.
they thought that the world was not ready for a game that you couldn't win or lose. And so no one would publish this thing.
Yeah. I I want to kind of talk about that because I've had a thought on that concept for a long, long time. And I don't think we've ever discussed a game like SimCity where it is, well, Pirates.
Yeah.
Did Pirates have a win ending? Like you could retire.
Yeah, I think that was the best you can hope for really in Pirates was just a retirement where you have all your limbs intact and both
Mhm.
your eyes.
You didn't pirate right if you've got all your limbs and eyes.
I know. Like what's the
Just saying.
point?
Just saying. But so, I think about games like this the way I think about Toys R Us. Okay. You following me so far?
No, but continue.
All right. So Toys R Us sold games like Monopoly, Scrabble, board games, and
Yeah.
video games, legit games,
Yeah.
games you play as games. It also sold GI Joe. GI Joe is a toy, not a game.
Yes.
And I think if we started defining some of these programs as toys and not as games, maybe some of these gatekeeping assholes who are constantly like, that's not a real game, would
Right.
maybe understand that it has a place. It's a different sort of thing. But that doesn't mean it's not fun or not something a gamer would enjoy. It's just a different genre sort of it.
Yeah. Totally. That's such like a early 80s like video game executive thing to do is be
Mm-hmm.
like no one's going to want to play this, you can't win,
Right.
there's no you're
It's
not
not a
jumping on
game.
turtles. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a toy. You play with it, you try things out with it, you make Godzilla stomp through your city.
Hmm.
It's a
Yeah,
toy.
you fly into a rage and willfully destroy your city with every disaster at once.
It happens later.
Very good, very
Because
good.
that is, I think, the greatest joy in SimCity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the pinnacle and the peak
Mm,
are the disasters though, because if you leave them on when you're playing, it's just like it's just such a big fuck you when you're like in the middle of playing, and they really happen randomly. Like you can be just like starting out, just run out of money for the first time and suddenly it's Disasterville, USA.
that said, I don't think I can genuinely enjoy playing with the toy without disasters on. Because
Yeah.
once you learn the tricks to how to build the city, we haven't even talked about what this toy game is yet. We've just launched
Right.
right into it. So if you're
I mean,
joining us for the first time,
who doesn't know what SimCity is?
yeah, if you don't know what SimCity is, the year is 2022,
Yeah.
and we just got out of a worldwide pandemic. Well, we're still kind of in it.
We're still in it.
Um, they're just kind of catching you up to speed on things.
Yeah.
Marvel is like the only movie ever made anymore. What else can we tell them?
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, The problem I had was that I have fond memories of SimCity, but really what I have are fond memories of SimCity 2000.
Yes.
And I have fond memories of even SimCity on the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
But SimCity on the PC is a different animal.
Yes.
It's really pared down. You don't even get to build your house in the sweet prime real estate like you do in the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's it's pared down.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. Like the object is you zone spots for the city, like industrial, residential, and commercial,
Mm-hmm.
and you can put a few things down, like a fire department, a police department, power. But a lot of the
Stadium.
managing of the city just doesn't happen in this one. If you've played some of the newer ones, this is about as bare bones as it gets.
Yeah, you have there,
Roads,
there's no
railroads.
subway, there's no water mains or anything like in the
Mm-mm.
later one. It's pared down, and really it was inspired by this idea of system dynamics, which is like a way to model complex systems,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool, but also for me it falls flat. And I like am very angry that I kind of end up agreeing with the executives on this one because there's not enough here to really merit spending a ton of time on this game.
Mm-mm.
I played it a lot because I was really mad at it.
Well, I got stuck in. So one of the things they sold a bunch of for this was graphic changes. And I didn't know, but the version I had snagged was stuck in like Old West mode. And it
Mhm.
looked horrible to me. Like I couldn't stand the graphics. But I thought, because I was also having fond memories of SimCity 2000, that, oh, I just hadn't researched the new enough tech yet. And that would come in time. And no, that's not.
No, no, there's no
No,
tech.
there's no tech. There's no research. You basically can do everything on day one,
Hmm.
and you put it together and see what happens.
Yeah, and like where it's at its best, um, are those there's times where you're like kind of on the precipice of success or failure. Like those are fun times when like they start demanding a stadium and you're like, oh, you got to
Whatever.
scrimp for it. But so much of what this game is actually like not necessarily designing an interesting city.
No.
That's the real problem I had with it. Like if you design yourself a really sweet freeway system and you intricately weave in a mass transit system and like that'll get you to like
Mm-hmm.
almost anywhere you want to go, and you like carefully lay out your police departments and all that shit, and you like I was like when I started I was like so principled about this shit. I was like only nuclear power, all rail all the time. But that's not like what you want to
Well,
do.
it's not fun because, like, I am like 3x3 grids, rail around them, and it makes an efficient city, but it's boring as shit. Like, it's just
Right.
it reminds me of modern idle games. Like, if you like idle games, this might be something you want to check out because it's way more hands off than some of the other games. If you turn off disasters,
Yeah.
if you
Right.
leave out disasters, maybe you got a game there.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
that's the balance.
but if you leave disasters on, and so you can either be really good at this game
Mm-hmm.
and know exactly how to lay it out to be successful, and then nothing matters because you're just doing so well, or you can not know that and try to do what I did, which was like I was like, okay, I want to create a dense commercial zone here with one squares, lots of roads, a one by one, you know,
Yeah, you
and
did a
then
lot of one by one. That adds a lot of roads.
it does.
And then
But
that
that's
creates a lot of traffic jams. And so you had people complaining all the time about traffic. And my argument was if there's only one road, there's only one traffic jam.
and and then we ended up with no roads because then I think you and I got together and just
Mm-hmm.
built a city that was 3 by 3 grids, all with
Railroad.
railroad, and that
It
did
worked
well.
fine.
Yeah, yeah, and like that's I want to have a dense commercial area and then some sprawling suburbs connected by
Mm-hmm.
freeways, and like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But you don't really get to do that. That's a different game. That's City Skylines. That's even SimCity 2000 is more like that.
Right. Yeah, like I said, this I think idle game is the best way to describe it because it is with disasters off. I mean, just relaxing. You put some stuff down, you let it go, you let your cash build up, you do it again, rinse and repeat. And as long as you're not overextending, you're fine. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, yeah. And pro tip, like if you're like me and you get to a point where you're barely eking along, but your idiot citizens are demanding a fucking airport and you're clearing $20 a month. If you crank up your CPU cycles all the way, you can pass a year in a second.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, it's like the year 50, 30, and
Yeah,
you
because
finally
there's a Windows version of this, but we played it in DOS. So you could, in
yeah.
DOSBox, you can mess with the CPU cycles. So there's an in-game speed, which already speeds it up. And then like you did, yeah, you put it at 60,000 cycles or something.
Yeah, and just like
Fantastic. I loved
yep.
it.
Yep. It's a good way to get things done when you've run out of patience.
Uh-huh.
But that's not super fun.
It's not. And that ultimately is the thing where this isn't a game for me.
Yeah.
That's a reality I had to just I hoped I would remember it different. Because I remember having fun with SimCity 2000. I remember trying this once or twice and not understanding what made it fun. And I thought, well, maybe this time I'll get it. And I see what this would appeal to some people, but not me. I am not its target audience. And
yeah.
I can't say it's a bad thing, toy game, whatever, but it's also there's not enough there. Now you can put everything down at the right away and then all right, well now what?
Right. Then you're basically just waiting to become the city, the metropolis, the capital, whatever.
Right.
Because that's really the only thing that gives you any
Yeah.
like dopamine release in your brain. Because otherwise it's just the same.
Well, yeah, it's meant to be like a sandbox experimentation thing. So you can be like,
Yeah.
what happens if I put industry down next to commercial? What happens if I put commercial down next to residential?
But the thing is that it's so opaque that like you don't really know. Like it's not going well, but like they're always telling you, "Oh, your shit is too polluted, crime is rampant." But like that can be happening and the city's doing just fine.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to move in. They're willing to pay my outrageously high taxes. They don't mind that I've totally defunded the police department to $0 a year. Like,
Well, and when we were playing together, like you were seeing, like your pollution's so high. So we pulled up the pollution grid and most of the city was clear. And even over the industry section, it was medium because I was all nuclear power and the industry was sort of scattered far enough apart that nothing got above mid pollution. And you have to have industry. So,
right,
I don't know. Like,
right. That was a huge game changer for me too, because I was like, They want industry, but I don't want to get dinged on pollution, so I'm just gonna like not really do it, and I'm just gonna like accept that it's. But no, you just like fucking just build all the industry,
Yeah,
put it next to the water. Like, who cares?
who cares? Yeah, there's no sort of punishment for any of that. Unlike in something like, say, City Skylines, which have you played that?
No, I just
I
got it for free, but I haven't played it yet.
Oh, you should. I think you'll get what you're looking for out of it in terms of the traffic and the other management. Like if you put your sewage downstream from your water intake, that matters. Like
Yeah, right, right. And I mean, the obviously there's a gulf of years between this
right.
and City Skylines, and this like is doing something. It's doing something with like I said earlier with the idea of system dynamics where, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they're tweaking these knobs behind the scenes based on where things are laid out and like where the traffic happens. I I I don't really know what those knobs are, but the fact that they're doing it is like cool
Interesting. Yeah.
from a technology standpoint. And I think that's what uh, Will Wright kind of brought,
Mm-hmm.
and then like went on to make Spore, which is also some really interesting knob twiddling that's not very much fun.
Well, Spore was. I know a little bit about Spore because I was fascinated in what Spore was supposed to be, and like several other like Rockstar developers from the '80s who got into the later years and had teams around them.
Hmm.
Sort of the control was wrested away from them towards more popularizing what they were trying to do. So Spore was meant to be far more systems and twiddling and that, and it became a sort of cartoony fun game.
Hmm.
And because neither side completely won, no one won. Like,
Right, right. You just kind of get this middling
yeah,
disappointment.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, thinking about everything that this spawned is pretty amazing.
oh yeah,
Like Sim Ant, Sim Earth, Sim. There's like a million. The Sims,
yeah.
like all four of the Sims games, which have made like more money than anyone. Uh, it's
Sim
fascinating.
Farm,
Sim Farm.
Sim Copter, Streets of Sim City. Do you remember Streets of Sim City?
Good time. That's a good time. I loved Streets of Sim City.
uh, Sim City Societies. That's interesting.
No, we're not doing that.
No, we're not.
Yeah, but I mean, so obviously there's something here,
Yeah.
uh, and I think probably this was reasonably successful. This didn't like change the world, but it was so obvious that there's something here. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is a good idea, and to pave the way for games that aren't games
Right.
was super important, and like we shouldn't
No.
let that go unacknowledged.
No, because it definitely brought us the more simulation-y games, the more God
Yeah,
games that just this and Civ. I think those two together really sort of brought that God game formula. And I think the
right.
two of them have some sort of weird symbiosis where they go together. Like the original Civ, if you look at the original Civ compared to the new Civs, Civilization, it's so bare bones.
Hmm.
I still enjoy it more than this per se, but
Yeah.
because it's a game, there's an objective. There's always something for me to be trying to do and someone trying to stop me from doing it.
Hmm.
And that's sort of my thing, like with the traffic jams, like we're talking about. I don't even feel like okay, they're complaining about traffic, but like you said, it doesn't stop them from moving in. It doesn't stop them from paying your taxes. It doesn't stop. They complain.
Right. It's
Bitch all
it's
you want. I'm making $640 a month.
right. It's missing some feedback loop
Mm-hmm.
because when you do the things that it says you want to do, you don't get anything.
Right.
It's not like you unclogged some pipe and suddenly cash and people are flowing in.
Right.
It's like, oh, thanks for the stadium. See you in like 6 months when we want a seaport. Like,
Mm-hmm.
fuck you. Like,
You
throw me a
ungrateful little
parade.
shit.
Do something.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I at least can find some interest in when disasters are on,
Mm-hmm.
because then I can be like, oh, I've got to repair my roads, or I've got to get electricity going, or there's
Right.
something to try and achieve.
Right.
But it's also so just completely random that there's no prepping, there's no logic. It's just, I'm gonna fuck up your city now. It's like taking an ant colony and shaking it and going, ha, 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 ha.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can build everything with redundant paths to power, and
Mm-hmm.
like shit like that doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
It's just like it's not really helpful. You'd be better off saving that $5 or a couple $100,
Yeah.
to just like fix it after the disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing that ever made me feel clever.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's what it's missing, is that moment of, oh, I did this. And now like you said, the pipe's unclogged. Stuff's
Yep.
flowing again.
Yep. And like way too often you end up just ground down to no money, and then you're just like sitting on it and you can't do anything because you can't sell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's no loans like in the later games.
Right.
In the later games, if that happened, you could like get a loan, try to fix
Yeah.
your shit, and that's
Put yourself in a tough situation. And
yeah. This loans would have helped me a lot in my early cities
yeah.
when I was trying to build what I thought the people wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was kind of bummed out, and I played it so much. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and man, I got to tell you, if if you get to the year like
You get like year
5068,
6,000. Yeah.
yeah, if I'm in the year 6000 and we still can't fucking like join roads over water, like let's just kill ourselves. Let's just launch the whole planet into the sun. That is so irritating. Just like let me curve the road over water. Just let me. Just let me
one,
do it.
one of the things I am interested in but can't do without a time machine, I would love to know what it would have been like to play this on a Commodore 64 in 1989, because it came out for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe on the 64, maybe if that's what I had, I would have been like, wow, this is something different and new. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's a little bit of money going here, but can you tell me the difference between this and a paint program?
Well,
I mean, a little bit more. I'm going to hear comments about that, by the way. That's
yeah. Well, again, I think the problem is the opacity of the systems and the lack of feedback.
yeah.
Like there are systems. Like look at the city.
Here's our train city. Yeah.
This is Train City, 3x3 grids, very regimented. You're residential by the water, you're commercial by your residential, you're industrial by your commercial. Like, and it's doing great. Like these
Mm-hmm.
buildings are maxed out. Then you can go back and replace all your coal with nuclear, which is exactly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's very orderly, but like you said, it's not interesting.
Yeah. This isn't fun. Oh, here's the formula. Plug it in. Oh, your city worked. Like,
Yeah.
it's only fun when something's going wrong with your formula, and it's hard to deliberately screw up your formula. And so that's why you need disasters. But disasters, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
funny, but it's not fun. Like watching Godzilla stomp through your buildings a couple times is funny.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you've built a city that's regimented and this profitable, that doesn't really mean anything either.
Right.
It just like gives you more shit to click on, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to revitalize your neighborhoods
Mm.
in the wake of the Godzilla attack, right?
Yep.
You're just going to like rebuild the same shit.
Dude, I've got it. $1 million idea. City clicker. We're on it.
Yep.
It's the next great clicker game, City Clicker.
City clicker. I've played. I went through a phase where I was into. I don't know if it was Virtual Beggar. It was one venture something capitalist, venture
Okay.
capitalist or whatever. It was kind of fun. It's like kind of addictive in a way because it just like builds and builds and builds exponentially, and you feel like you're doing a good job, but you're not because you're not really doing anything. Just like waiting around to die.
I wanted to make some joke about like I played this game called TD Ameritrade. I kept clicking on stuff and losing, but I don't think it matters.
That's where all the TLS money
That's
went.
where all the TLS money. What? What?
Damn it!
Oh. Uh.
Oh, you fucked up. You look at
Oh
now. You
my
got to
god.
bulldoze it. When
Like
you make those little fuck ups when you're scraping by and you
that
place
hurts.
one piece of road wrong, it's like, oh my god, I've just doomed myself.
But when you got 3,000 like we've got in this,
Now you just
who cares, man? Oh, I'll put that back. Yeah.
it's so fucking hard to make those. I swear more when we do this at night, by the way.
Okay.
It's so fucking hard to make those roads go straight.
Well,
It's
and this is one of the things I did
agonizing.
kind of want to compliment it on. For a DOS game, mouse support is good. Not great, could be better.
That's totally fair.
For a DOS game, mouse support is good.
Definitely.
Oh,
But
I
it's
added an extra railroad.
yeah, it's still really hard to make the roads go straight though, and
Yeah.
it can be frustrating.
Mm-hmm. I mean, things got figured out over the years.
Oh yeah.
Improved.
Yeah.
What's your pinnacle and pit with this game?
Well, my pit was probably around my fifth or sixth iteration of these cities that I was making. All of them Sectoria, Sectorville, New Sectorville, Sectropolis. Uh, and I was like, this is going to be the one because this time I'm going to build 4 roads wide as my main path, and and to pay for it, I'm gonna like switch to coal. And I was like tweaking this formula, trying to just like capture some lightning in a bottle or something, or just like make a city that's not gonna leave me in the same lurch that I'm always in. Uh, and so that was the pit because of course it didn't work. Because I just like can't make a city work by paying attention to what I think people want or thinking about what I would want.
Because that's not what matters.
And
Not in
so
this game.
the peak was when we played and we were just like kicking around ideas and like reading the manual, and we were like, let's build one that's just all 3x3 with railroad. And we did it, and it was successful and it was fun because we were doing it together.
Yeah. I will say, like, my pinnacle was the same. When we broke the game with Railroad City, my pit was when we broke the game with Railroad City. I want to pause here for a second. Just because the game's over. Like, I know now how to do this. I can't not know how to do this. This is what we were talking about. They are complaining about our pollution. Over half the city is completely clear.
Right.
And the rest of it's industrial. It has to have pollution.
Right. And let me tell you, Chris, if you try to design your city thinking you're gonna section off your industrial and leave a big wide berth,
That
don't
ain't
do
gonna.
that because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it would work in this 3x3 regimented way. Like you could put them far away and like leave two things, but I mean, the pollution's still there.
Yeah.
So like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But like, I think these graphs are the closest that you're going to get to those inputs and outputs.
Right. Excuse me. Yeah, these are what tell you what your little toys in the sand are actually, how they're affecting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not that many, and the answer is not that much.
Totally. Yep.
And I mean, you might feel like it does because you did something that you felt really made a difference, but no.
But
unless
no.
you deliberately, like, just scattered buildings randomly. Because I remember when I was a kid, I'd build 4x4 grids where I'd do one of each and then one random thing either next to residential or a fire station or whatever.
Yeah.
And that worked too.
Yeah.
The whole secret is balance. Look at what you're being told they're asking for in terms of residential, commercial, or industrial. Put that down, and if you're lucky, it'll work. But mostly, just keep it in balance. And
yeah. Pace yourself. Although we didn't really, when we built Railroad City, we didn't really pace ourselves. That was another thing. I was trying to do that too. I was like, let's just see how this evolves organically. I'll go really slow. Like, no. It's just like, yeah. I was. Yes, it's the monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I decided here we'll just pull out all the bad guys.
There he goes. This is good stuff.
At one point, I had the monster and a tornado in the same path.
I want to see. Does it eat the boat? Eat the boat, monster! Oh, what do you do with the? Get the budget window off of there. I want to see it eat the boat. Yes, yes. This is what SimCity's all about, folks.
Yep.
This right here. It's not about the careful zoning or the prudent fiscal management or the mass transit system of your dreams. It's about this squiggly little salamander feller ripping shit up.
Yep. Starting fires.
Mm-hmm.
Eating tires.
Now see, if you could get Sim, what's the one where you drive around?
Streets of SimCity.
Streets of SimCity and a monster attack. Oh, you got a stew going, baby.
Right.
That would be some fun shit.
That would be fun. Fighting the monster.
I don't think there was anything in Streets of SimCity like that.
We got to fight the monster?
Yeah.
The game you're thinking of is EDF.
That's right. I am always thinking of EDF.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It's a good time.
All right. As much as I'd love to keep sort of banging on about this, is there anything else you have to say?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. Then I'm gonna do
prepare for transition.
Prepare for transition. I was hoping
preparing to transition.
Oh well, let's do it this way. We know we're doing Space Taxi as our short game.
Yes.
If you're out there hunting for a copy, make sure you find a copy where they actually speak to you. Like, hey, taxi! It's just adds so much to the game.
Oh, yes.
There's a couple versions that don't have that, but try and find that.
You need that.
And then long game. It would normally, I think, probably be a short game, but I think you're going to want to make this a long game.
Okay.
And it's a Mastertronic game. Which means
it's really?
A budget Commodore, like $1.99 in the bin game.
Another one of these, huh?
Another one of these.
Which are the ones we played?
Spellbound and Ghetto Blaster.
Oh,
And I think something
Ghetto
else.
Blaster was Mastertronic?
I think so. I'd have to look.
Oh,
But this is Kickstarter Off-Road Simulator, and it is
okay.
you drive a motorbike over obstacles, and you've got to have the right speed and angle on your bike.
That
to not
sounds
crash.
fun.
Yeah, you're gonna throw a controller or two.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is fun. So,
Yep, we're gonna take it easy.
mm-hmm.
We're gonna play some Kickstarter.
Yeah.
What is that other Mastertronic game?
I'd have to go look.
Night Games. That
Oh,
was
yeah,
it.
Night
Night
Games.
Games. That was a Mastertronic original.
Mm-hmm.
Kobayashi Naru. What? It's an adventure, a Mastertronic adventure game.
That sounds right.
Awesome.
Cosmos were the Forbidden Forests.
It really it comes from the Star Trek thing. That's fascinating. Anyway, someday we'll play Kobayashi Maru, and
I'm sure we will. Yeah.
we will discuss it at length.
Yes, Kickstart, which if you're from that era, you will probably remember this, and it is. Well, we'll talk about it then.
I'll get my joystick.
You'll need it. All right. Anything else before we go?
No, I think that's all I got on SimCity.
Me too.
Sorry,
I wish I had
Will.
more to say, but there's just it's an
Yeah.
important game in history, but it doesn't have a lot for me to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
thanks everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Big thank you to all of you watching, sharing, liking, subscribing, suggesting games, commenting on our videos, or supporting us on Patreon. We appreciate all of your support and look forward to sharing many more videos with you. Thank you again.